Greetings viewers, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, why I dropped Snap-on for Milwaukee. So as you see, I've got quite an assortment of M18 and M12 Milwaukee tools. I've had these for about 5 months. That's when I got the 1/2 inch. That was my first Milwaukee power tool. From there, if I recall correctly, I got the stubby 3/8 M12 impact. Then it was the M18 1/2 inch hammer drill, which I got as part of the combo kit with the 1/4 inch driver, and I believe a hacksaw as part of a pack out deal. Then where'd I go? I think I got the mid-torque 3/8, the fuel 3/8 ratchet, the 3-inch cutoff tool, the M12 soldering iron, the M12 screwdriver, and latest was the M12 fuel right angle die grinder. So, why the switch from Snap-on to Milwaukee? As most of you are aware, and I say more than I should, I was a Snap-on dealer for about 4 years. And I was Snap-on tried and true everything. They had us convinced that Snap-on had the best of everything no matter what it was, and that's simply not the case. The sun does not rise and set in Snap-on as much as they'd like to believe it. When it comes to the cordless tools, the Milwaukee stuff just blows the Snap-on out of the water, in my opinion, after using both. I had the Snap-on CT 8850, which was the big 1/2 inch gun, 800-ish foot-pound rating. I had one of the very first ones released. Loved it for the time I had it. I used it for, I don't know, about 5 years or so. And early subscribers and those of you that have been subscribed to the channel for a while have seen it in many videos, that with the CT 8810 3/8 18-volt impact that just got chunked in the trash can for dramatic effect. Both of those guns I really enjoyed, and they really did a good job for quite a few years, but they're brushed motors, and they're getting old. I actually sold both of the 1/2 inch and 3/8 a month or so after getting the Milwaukee stuff, just because I was blown away by how much more powerful the Milwaukee stuff was than my old Snap-on stuff, and at a huge cost savings. So that was another CT 8810 I had knocking around. But yeah, the torque difference is immense. 1,400 foot-pounds breakaway on the 1/2 inch high torque. The mid-torque 3/8, which is a monster, I believe it's rated at 600 foot-pounds. This little M12 stubby is like my favorite impact now. The Snap-on 14.4 CT 761 was a really stout, really compact impact. But power-wise and everything else, this thing is the winner. That 3/8 18-volt Snap-on gun I had, the CT 8810, if I recall correctly, they're rated at like 210 foot-pounds of torque. This little stubby M12, 250 foot-pounds of torque. This little thing is amazing. Plus, it's got three different power modes with a 4th mode. Mode where when you're breaking loose lug nuts, it'll break it loose, slow it down so it doesn't sling the lug nuts. 3 different torque power outputs. It's just miles above and beyond what the Snap-on stuff was. And like I said, for less than half the price in most cases. Snap-on finally got into the brushless market, 2-3 months ago, if that, with their new CT, I think it's 9705 or 9750, some combination of 9705. Can't remember exactly what it is, but it's, I believe, 1,200 foot-pounds of torque breakaway is the rating on it, and I think working torque's 900 foot-pounds, whereas the high torque M18's 1,400 foot-pounds breakaway, and I believe around 1,000 working, 950, somewhere in there. But yeah, Snap-on was late to the party when it comes to the brushless stuff. I mean, if I recall correctly, Harbor Freight had brushless cordless tools before Snap-on did. And Snap-on's just been late to the party on this one, and Milwaukee has run away with it. The M12 tools, the automotive tools, I just got the 90-degree right angle grinder. I absolutely love this thing. It's amazing 4 different speeds. No need to hook up the air hose and drag it behind you. Got all the power I need for doing any kind of surface prep with either a regular Scotch-Brite roll lock or bristle disc. Love the thing. Put a cutoff on it with an arbor just to test it, and it cuts off pretty well. It took quite a bit to stall it out. Screw gun, I haven't had very long. As you see, it's nice and shiny and clean. Haven't got to use it a lot. The little 3-inch cutoff tool, really love it. It does have some drawbacks. One, the depth of cut because of the size of the motor housing compared to where the actual blade is. But now that I have the right angle, I can put a cutoff on it and get a deeper cut than this one. What I'd really like to see is a straight neck die grinder, M12 size. I'm sure it's in the works. That would be great to have. The M12 soldering iron, haven't had it very long. Bought it on a whim at Home Depot one day. I think it was like 79 bucks, and it is great. Love the thing. Heats up super quick. I've used it to repair 2 or 3 GM instrument clusters. That's about as much as I've done with it, but amazing for that. I think it's like 15-second heat up time to working to use. I mean, it's insane. It blows my regular plug-in electric soldering stuff out of the water. Love it. And no cord. 1/2-inch drill, no complaints on it. Pretty beat up. I actually was using it this week to drill out broken turbo studs on a WRX. The 3/8 mid-torque, haven't got to use it a ton, but when I do bring it out, I haven't put on anything. It hasn't taken off yet. 1/2-inch gun. I've got an old video clip off my phone, might put in here, but it was the deciding factor when I said I'm going all in with Milwaukee and getting rid of my Snap-on cordless stuff. I was had a 1/2 to 3/4 adapter, and I can't remember what lug size it was, but it was an Isuzu NPR. This thing whipped the lugs off like it was nobody's business. The CT8850 beat, and could not budge them. Yes, I know it's a 5-year-old gun at this point. Yes, I know it probably need a rebuild, but even new out of the box, it doesn't have the power this one does. Plus the different modes that this one has, and the batteries. That's another big thing. The Snap-on 18-volt lithium power tools, for the longest time, they were a 3-amp-hour battery. Then they came out with a 4-amp-hour battery, I believe in 15 or 16, and that's all they've had. And with Milwaukee, you can get all the way up to a 12-0. Do you want to put a 12-0 on a 1/2-inch impact and lug it around all day? Not really, but you can. For power to balance weight-wise, I've pretty much settled on the new high-output XC60 batteries. They seem to be give me plenty of run time. They're compact. They're not hitting a lot of stuff when I'm in an engine bay or underneath the car, like the bigger 12.0 or a 9.0 or something like that would be. And if you want the high-output XC30 would work great too if you need a little bit more of a low-profile battery to get it in somewhere. But yeah, a little light, the little Rover light, got it. It's pretty nice to have. I've got a couple M12 rocket lights. I got an M18 rocket light, great to set up around the car, under the car when it's on a lift to light things up, especially if the shop's lighting isn't very adequate. Got old fluorescent lighting in here, hopefully upgrading to LED soon, but those 2 lights are great, especially when filming now. What else? Drawbacks, I mean, it's not all great. One thing I don't like about Milwaukee is that all their tools are made in China. I really do not like the outsourcing that Milwaukee does, but they're owned by a Chinese company, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. You know, some people might fight back, well, buy Snap-on because it's made in America. Not really with the cordless stuff. Snap-on would tell us that. There is the Murphy, North Carolina Power Tools plant where the stuff is assembled, but it's not made there. The motors that Snap-on uses in their cordless tools are Chinese imports. The batteries are Taiwanese imports. Most of the electronic brain box for the motor, controller, the switches, all that stuff is Chinese made. I think most of the housings, the plastic housings, are Chinese. They might be made in America. I'm not exactly sure on that. I do know on the impacts that the hammer mechanisms and the nose cones, things of that nature, are made in the U.S. at the Murphy plant, but mostly it's assembled in the U.S., not actually made in the U.S. There's a lot of foreign components in those power tools. But talking about things that haven't really blown my skirt up, the M12 Fuel 3/8 ratchet, I'm not a huge fan of. I got it back this summer on a deal where you bought the drive body and I think you got a free 2.0 M12 battery. One thing I do love about it is that you can lock out the lever. So if you've got it in a tool bag or something, it's not going to activate, it's not going to run the battery down. That's one thing I do not like about the Snap-on 14.4 ratchets. They just got a button and there's no lockout. And there's many times I've had them in a tool bag in the back of the truck or back of my car, and I hear them start running, and I got to pull over to the side of the road and adjust things in the tool bag because they've shifted. It's held the button down and it starts running the tool. But this thing just feels awkward. I'm not a fan of the paddle. The head's really big and the RPMs are slow. It's got more torque, but it's not as fast as the Snap-on. So I haven't totally abandoned Snap-on power tools. I'm still a lover of the 14.4 cordless ratchets. As you see here, I've got my long neck 3/8, the CT767, yes, in high-vis yellow. As you can see, it's got a lot of use. And the CTR 714A, which is the second design, small compact-headed 1/4-inch drive. I do plan to get the long neck version of this one very soon, because honestly with these, I don't see the need to having the short and the long. I don't use my 3/8 short anymore. It's in my big toolbox back at the farm. I always use the long neck. So I'm probably going to trade this one in for the long neck just because I don't need the short and the long together. But that's a big thing that I've still been a supporter of Snap-on in cordless wise is these things. The ergonomics are great. The head design is very low profile. If I remember right, it's all the same guts out of like the FAR 7200, 7000, or the old FAR 72C air ratchets. Really stout. Never had an issue with either one of them. Never had to send them in for repair. A lot of customers that I had over the years always complained about the low torque output. If I remember right, the original had 30 foot-pounds, and I think these newer ones have about 40 foot-pounds of torque. I did see at SFC, Snap-on's big yearly tool show in August, that they're releasing a new one called the Brute. I don't know if that's Snap-on's name for it, or if guys that have talked about it have nicknamed it the Brute, but I think it's supposed to have 70 foot-pounds of torque. Looks promising, but all I've seen is the short neck version. I want to see a long neck. That's the one I like. But yeah, I just do not really use the fuel. It tends to eat through batteries even when I've got bigger batteries on it, whereas the 14.4 stuff I can run for sometimes nearly a week before I have to change batteries. Battery life is amazing on it. As far as torque's concerned, I've never had an issue with it only having 40 foot-pounds of torque. It's a cordless ratchet. It's not an impact. You break it loose like a traditional ratchet, hit the button to spin the nut or bolt in or out. It does what it's supposed to, and it's higher RPM. It's always, one thing I always loved about it is, compared to this one, is it spins the bolt out much faster. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about breakaway torque when it comes to a ratchet because it's not an impact. That's not what it's designed to do. But yeah, so that was a little bit all over the place. But why I have changed up and shifted everything of my cordless power tools to Milwaukee. Milwaukee is like the big innovator right now in automotive tools, Cordless tools with the new right angle die grinder, the stubby impact, the cutoff wheel, the soldering iron. I know it's not specifically automotive, but I use it a lot in automotive work. But yeah, they are really stepping up the game, and their cordless tools are awesome. So when talking about the 1/2 inch impact, the new brushless snap-on model, as I said, it's 200 foot-pounds less rating. That's their numbers and Milwaukee's numbers, so I mean, it might not be totally accurate. So less power. They just finally went up to a 5 amp hour battery, where Milwaukee you can get all the way up to a 12-0. The Snap-on now finally has different power modes, which Milwaukee's had for years. The Snap-on used to have an angled body from the handle, which was nice when you were doing tires and stuff, where the battery and stuff would not be in line with the bottom of a tire. But now it's straight neck like the Milwaukee is. There's a lot of Milwaukee in the new Snap-on design-wise. I actually made an Instagram meme about it, and it got pretty good traction. But yeah, the big thing about it is I don't understand the math. I mean, I understood it when I was a dealer and trying to sell it to people, but now on the outside looking back in, I just can't wrap my head around it. If I remember right, the retail for the Snap-on brushless 1/2 inch impact with 2 batteries, charger, tool bag, the full kit, retails for right around $1,000, and it's 2-year warranty on the tool, 2-year warranty on the batteries. With the Milwaukee, if I remember right, I think right now on Amazon Prime, you can get the high torque 1/2 inch gun, 250 batteries, charger, and a contractor bag in a kit for about $480, $500, somewhere in there, and it's got a 5-year warranty. So I just can't wrap my head around buying a double the price, 200 foot-pound less powerful, and 3-year less warranty having impact. They show that, oh, we've got a bigger hammer and bigger drive and this and that, and you know, it's better than the Milwaukee in that way. But I've seen from YouTube and Instagram posts, there's been a lot of people shearing off the anvils on their new Snap-on CT 9705 or 9507 or whatever the freaking number is. But I haven't seen much in the way of the high torque Milwaukee having issues with shearing off their anvils with more power. But anyway, so for the money, I would buy a high torque kit and another high torque drive body. I'd have 2 of them and still have less money in it than buying one Snap-on kit. But that's just me, and that's just me now. I don't see spending $1,000 or close to $1,000 on the Snap-on 1/2 inch. There's just no way. They're too far behind everybody else, especially Milwaukee at this point, to invest the money in continuing to buy their 18-volt platform. It's just, meh. If you look at the drill, the Sawzall, all the stuff they have to offer doesn't hold a candle to Milwaukee stuff. And I do not have my Super Sawzall here. I did not have an 18-volt Snap-on Sawzall. I didn't have the Snap-on 18-volt grease gun, nor do I not have the Milwaukee 18-volt grease gun, but it is on my list. I really want it for the farm to keep the tractors and bulldozer greased up. As far as future tools from Milwaukee, I plan to buy. I was thinking about maybe trying out the long neck fuel ratchet just to see if it's any better, but my big gripe is still how freaking huge the daggum drive end is compared to the Snap-on. It's just bulbous and looks like it'd be in the way. So honestly, I think I'm going to stick with Snap-on on the ratchets, but as far as Milwaukee stuff, I don't know. There's not really anything jumping out at me at the moment, automotive related, that I can't live without. I've got plenty of their woodworking tools for my rental properties and houses I'm renovating, but that's a different channel. So with that said, I think we can wrap it up here. I've done enough talking about old Big Red here. So I think we'll go ahead and end the video out here. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you found this informational or entertaining. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.